I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing like I don't know if it's a documentary or like actors are in it.
It's got
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show?
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter?
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going
I'm
to
saying
these
I'm a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not anymore.
They told me.
They
I
smashed
told them
you.
to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing.
Look,
somebody's
in this
got
economy,
money.
In this economy,
But they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Time to rise and grind here on a glorious Tuesday morning. At least it's freezing cold here in the Northeast. I know Joe's probably living through some nice 75-degree balmy plus temperatures down in South Florida. But last night, it was frigid temperatures in Pittsburgh last night. Welcome the Miami Dolphins, who can't seem to get right in cold weather conditions. We'll recap that game and much more today. It's the early line. It's the SportsGrid Network. It's Sonny Rightside. It's Joe Ranieri. The energy is high because we have a monster week of football to go over, Joe, which includes also the NBA Cup Final tonight out in Vegas. How about that?
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Donnie, I did almost have to turn the air conditioning down last night. So it was freezing getting a little chilly, so I almost did, but I decided not to. But we got a lot, including the start of, more bowl games. Donnie, aren't you excited?
I am. You know what I'm more excited for, Joe? Friday, we had a nice little sweep on payday. Monday into the new week, another sweep on our buy bets. We'll get to that a little bit later, but it's time for Joe to get us caffeinated on a Tuesday.
Well, Donnie, let's get it going because I feel it is only fitting that today we talk about the tragic death of just that, bowl season. Because I'm old enough to remember when, making a bowl game actually meant something. It was a reward for not only the players, but the fans of that team and university. It was a badge of honor, Donnie. You remember that, right? I can remember growing up when only two teams got to play for a national championship. And, fans of every other team would look forward to figuring out what warm weather destination they could book tickets to in order to go watch their favorite school and team play, one more football game against another elite competition team. Well, now you can fast forward to 2025, Donnie, and what do we have now? Well, we've got a 5-7 Appalachian State playing in a bowl game. That's exciting, right? We have basically losing teams getting rewards for being mediocre. Gotta love celebrating mediocrity. And we have, what would have been, I think, a really good game back in the day would have been the Washington Huskies playing the Mountain West champion Boise State Mustangs, right? In the LA Bowl. We just got a chance to see that to kick off bowl season. Great matchup on paper. The problem was maybe 3,000 to 5,000 people in the stands to watch that game. It looked like a high school football practice, Donnie. The NCAA and the powers that be got so greedy. They got so obsessed with expanding the playoffs, filling TV slots. Well, they killed the golden goose here. They killed the soul of what all of this bowl season was supposed to be about. They took a very special product and turned it into background noise that nobody asked for. And now, well, now they're desperate, Donnie. We have officially entered the Savannah Banana eras of college football. What do I mean by that? Well, let's look at the Boca Raton Bowl, Donnie. They've got Louisville versus Toledo in a couple of days here before Christmas. And the only reason I even know that these two teams are playing, Donnie, is because it's in my backyard and I've been force-fed commercials telling me about it now for the better part of a week. But they know nobody is buying tickets to the Boca Raton Bowl. So what is the price of admission, Donnie? Well, you guessed it. It's a can of beans. And I am not joking. If you bring a can of Bush's baked beans to the gate, you will get in to watch this game for free. Now, credit to them. It goes to charity, and that's awesome, all of that good stuff. But think about what that says about the state of the sport. We have gone from fighting for a national championship to fighting for a New Year's Day bowl game to please come watch our game. We will literally trade you football for beans. This is what happens when you oversaturate the market. We wanted more, and now, well, the magic is gone, Donnie. So enjoy bowl season, folks. I'll be over here watching a 6-6 team play a 5-7 team in a half-empty stadium eating baked beans. So you've got to love bowl season, Donnie. Sometimes more is not better, Donnie.
You're exactly correct. And also understand this. We get how it's made for TV, and sometimes it doesn't matter who's in the stands because the copyrights have already been paid for through the networks. But growing up, Joe, 80s and 90s, we had bowl week. We didn't have bowl season. We're bowl December 12th all the way through January 7th. We basically had, the day after Christmas, the bowls get started. When do they end? January the 2nd at the latest here. That's what the issue is. You had a splurge of bowls, 5 and 6 a day, including monster games on New Year's Day, which they didn't worry about TV slots, Joe. They went, 4 games at 12, 4 games at 1, 3 games at 2, 5 games at 5 o'clock or whatever it would be. They loaded you up when it was supposed to be. Now it is sort of liquidation of the bowl season, and this is what you get. So congratulations, handicappers and degenerate gamblers. You'll watch it, you'll bet it, you'll love it, but the rest of us probably have a little bit better things to do, which includes hitting the early lineup, Joe. Massive injuries came down this weekend, which included Micah Parsons tears his ACL in a loss to the Broncos. Devastating. All that draft capital you paid. The season on the brink for the Green Bay Packers, and you go down with an injury, which will take you into next season. That's a shame for Micah Parsons, but he also tweeted out, he'll be back and better than ever.
Yeah, you will. And it's funny, Donnie, because we remember when that trade happened, right? And everyone couldn't. That was it. That was what put Green Bay over the top to win a Super Bowl, right? They were going to be the favorite. So what happens now that he's not there? Does that mean they don't win the Super Bowl? So it's so unfortunate that it happened this way. It's not, although Dallas fans lived through this with him, right? Unfortunately, if they're going to make a run at this, I think the Christian Watson injury might have been a little bit more detrimental than this, but time will tell if they're going to be able to regroup and get it done.
Time will tell also in the Miami Dolphins if they keep their head coach, Mr. McDaniel, one more season. Why? Because they can't win in cold weather, and the season was on the line last night against the Steelers. They actually had a 3-0 lead at under 2 minutes to go before the halftime buzzer sounded. You know what happened after that? I believe it, Joe, was 4 straight touchdown drives for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That included terrible defense, even more ridiculous taunting penalties, and too many men on the field plays on 4th down, which set up a 28-15 victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers as they hold all the cards in the AFC North. Aaron Rodgers, 224 and 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Gainwell was the star last night for the Steelers, and the defense played as well as you possibly could on a Monday night. Gave up a couple late touchdowns to the Dolphins. That game was a wrap after that second touchdown early in the third quarter for the Steelers.
Big reason why it pays to watch the early line here, Donnie. We laid that out for you yesterday where, listen, The kickoff at MetLife Stadium versus the Jets for Miami was 41 degrees, dropped to 37 degrees. That is not what Miami, Tua, and that team faced last night in Pittsburgh, Donnie. I was cold just watching that game. I cannot imagine what it must have been like in that stadium. But once again, Miami can't get it done when it matters the most.
And by the way, one of the key turning points in this game, which again didn't have a dictation of the final score, it was the Pittsburgh Steelers night, no doubt about it. You have to be aggressive in this year's NFL. Tua Tagovailoa ran, I believe, on 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3, got right up to within a football of the first down around the 40-yard line. Yeah, the Dolphins punted. You know what the Steelers did all night? Went for it every single time they got it on 4th down and repeatedly got those first downs here. Unbelievable, McDaniel. I have no idea what you were doing, but take that L. Steve Wilkes, he's got no idea what he's doing because he's not going to be a defensive coordinator this week. The Jets fired him, and I guess you could say rightfully so, man. The bottom fell out on that defense.
How is this his fault? Or, I mean, you basically traded away all his great players there on the defensive side of the ball. They did put up a good fight for a couple of games, right? And then they just got absolutely destroyed by a much better team that's heading to the playoffs. And now it's, you know, usually you give that first coaching staff a little bit of leeway in that first year, right? But now we're firing defensive coordinators in year one. That is red flags already in Jets land.
Arch Manning coming back for 2026. Kevin Adams, never heard of the guy. Connor Bedard, who cares? It's hockey. And Adolis Garcia to the Philadelphia Phillies, Joe. What do you think about that? All the way down the list.
I like that move for your Phillies, though, Donnie. Do you not? I kind of like that.
It is. It's a better version of Nick Castellanos because Nick Castellanos has to get out of town. Taking a flyer, 1 year, $10 million. Spreadlines coming up next. Hot action on the grid, baby.
I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing like I don't know if it's a documentary or like actors are in it.
It's got to.
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show?
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter?
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going
I'm
to
saying
these
I'm a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not anymore.
They told me. I
smashed
told them
you.
to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing.
In this economy,
but they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Today's top spread lines on a Tuesday. Yes, we are going to talk a lot of football. It is bowl season, as Joe brought up here in Caffeinated Joe's segment here on a Tuesday. And also understand this, the college football playoff is this weekend. And you don't even have to wait till Saturday, Joe. You just have to wait till Friday night for Oklahoma and Alabama. Let's get started tonight, 12-16. Yeah, that's the date tonight, 9 p.m. Troy and Jacksonville State. Why this game's on 9 p.m., I have no idea. That is terrible, terrible broadcasting, but it is. Troy opened up as a 3.5-point favorite. We're now down to 1.5, Joe, across the board, and a total, which was 50.5, now sits 49.5. Troy, Jacksonville State, live on your television tonight. What's your spread line here?
Well, Donnie, this game here is, of course, the Salute to Veterans Bowl, and the biggest line movement so far in this game has been on the total. This thing opened up as high as 51.5. and then immediately dropped by nearly 5 points, Donnie. Why? Well, we learned that Troy, who lost their starting quarterback, Goose Crowder. How do you love that's a quarterback name right there. Goose Crowder in the Sun Belt Championship title game against JMU, and nobody thought he was going to be able to play. Well, as it turns out, Donnie, he is playing, and he is listed as probable. He's been practicing all week here. Jacksonville State, what you just saw against my boys at Kennesaw State is exactly the team you're going to get in this game. So we have seen, obviously, the total tick back up, but we've also seen Troy go from an opening 4-point favorite down to about a 1.5, even a pick 'em in some spots. The backup quarterback just as capable as Goose Crowder here, but you got to think that the idea of not having their starting quarterback was what originally caused this line to move. And if he's not 100%, Donnie, wouldn't shock me at all. Jacksonville State runs right over them.
You might be watching the NFL on Thursday night, and rightfully so, but how about even more college football bowl season here, Joe? Missouri State and Arkansas State, another 9 o'clock start. You got to be kidding me with this stuff. The favorite opened up as Arkansas State, Joe, -2.5, now sits at 1.5, and a total down from the opening number, 56.5 to 54.5. Missouri State, Arkansas State, the two states getting after it. What's your spread line here?
You just got to love this, Donnie, because I'm giving you two bowl games that nobody cares about, right? But look at these spreads, right? These spreads here, just keep an eye on this one before we're going to get to another game that I want to point something out here. But Missouri State and Arkansas State, while a lot of people on break now in college, Donnie, are likely playing Xbox, this is the Xbox bowl game, which how cool would that be to go to now that I think about it? Maybe they give away free remote controls or something there. But listen, Arkansas State and Missouri State, two teams that have played a very similar schedule. This is very good publicity for both of these conferences, Conference USA as well as the Sun Belt. But again, this is another one of those games where what you saw all year with these two teams is what you're going to get here. There's not a ton of opt-outs. There's not a ton of missing pieces to this, which is why this game is almost a pick-em here. So not a lot of line movement one way or the other, except we are starting to see some under money come in for this game. Check the weather out in this one.
Check the weather out in this one on Saturday morning, I should say. Miami, Florida, and Texas A&M. This line opened up, Joe, as a total of 51.5, still sits there today. We are expecting a little bit more increased winds of around 15 miles an hour sustained. Weather temperatures early in the week, we're looking at around 80 degrees or so. That's dipped a little bit as well, so around 75 once we're midway through that game. The favorite is Texas A&M. They opened up around a 3.5-point favorite. You see the graphic, they're still sitting at 3.5 as a favorite. Ticket count pretty close, around 53% on Miami, 47% on Texas A&M. Joe, what is your spread line for this game, college football playoff style?
Well, I thought it'd be a good time to get you an update here on this is one of the more intriguing college football playoff games, Donnie, and there seems to be a clear pros versus Joes argument here that is shaping up because all of the tickets and the majority of the money, Donnie, have come in on A&M. But as you pointed out here, we have seen this line go from 4.5 in an open, and now 3.5s are predominant in a ton of spots. So you got tickets and money going towards A&M, but you got the line moving towards Miami. What does that tell us? Well, that tells us the more influential bettors are backing Miami, while the public seems to think, no way can I back Mario Cristobal and the Canes here. But so far, no crazy injury reports or anything along those lines regarding these two teams, but it's clear the public likes A&M, while the pros seem to be favoring the U.
Let's get on another public play here. This is going to take place Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. It's James Madison taking on Oregon. Line ticket count, I'm seeing, Joe, around 60% of those tickets on Oregon. That line opened up around 20.5 points. We're now seeing it north of 3 touchdowns. Most outlets ringing in at a 21.5. Total in this one, 49.5. Can JMU hang around? Or is it an Oregon night, Joe? What's that spread line for you?
All right. So again, I just gave you at the top of this, Donnie, 2 bowl games, right, where the spreads were basically maybe 1-2, but mostly a pick 'em. And now I am in a college football playoff game in which I have to try to explain how James Madison is even here, given the playoff game. And they are getting 3 touchdowns to start this game. 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And yet in an Xbox Bowl, it's a pick 'em with 2 teams that are very evenly matched. And these are supposed to be the best teams the country has to offer playing for a national championship. I don't get it. But you've got Oregon have been pretty good at home, especially against non-conference teams, Donnie. 11-0 straight up, 9-2 against the number. Every one of them double-digit wins. I thought we would see this line continue to rise, but believe it or not, Donnie, we are pretty much locked in at 21 here. I thought for sure we'd get a little bit closer. It was as high as 23.5. I was wondering if it would get to 24, but it's actually come back down. 21 is that key number right now. Do they win by more than 3 touchdowns? If they do, we got to have a serious talk about this here, Donnie, about this, a 3-touchdown underdog in a playoff game.
Yes, we do. Quick one here, Joe. The NBA Cup, Spurs and the Knicks tonight. Knicks a slight favorite at -2.5, despite the public seemingly being on the San Antonio Spurs. Joe, give me a quick spread line for Spurs Knicks tonight.
You nailed it, Donnie. Public is all over the Spurs, only the line appears to be growing for the Knicks. Keep an eye on that total as well, Donnie. That appears to be getting a ton of love in the market this morning.
Joe gave you the Steelers last night. I gave you the Utah Jazz outright in overtime last night. We'll be back for more Hot Topics.
I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing like I don't know if it's a documentary or like actors are in it.
It's got to.
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show?
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter?
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going
I'm
to
saying
these
I'm a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not anymore.
They told me.
They
I
smashed
told them
you.
to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing.
Look,
somebody's
in this
got
economy,
money.
In this economy,
But they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
It's over, Johnny. That's the Miami Dolphins season up in flames after a 28-15 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers last night. The Dolphins now sit 6-8. They are out of the playoffs. The Pittsburgh Steelers at 8-6, controlling their own destiny to make it into the playoffs, win the division, and get a home game here. 28-15 final. Aaron Rodgers, he couldn't do anything through the first quarter and a half, and all of a sudden, that Steelers offense woke up. You want efficiency? You got it out of Rodgers, Joe. 23 of 27, 224 in the air, and 2 touchdown passes, a passer rating of 125.9. Kenneth Gainwell filling in for the ill Jaylen Warren, 13 carries, 80 yards, then added 7 more catches for 46 yards. The Dolphins seemingly had the game plan you thought they would want, Joe, in the first half. Hand the football off to Devon Achane. In the second half, you weren't able to do that because you were getting roasted at that point. So many plays the Pittsburgh Steelers made, so many plays the Dolphins did not make, some boneheaded plays, some bad coaching decisions. That's what gets you a double-digit loss on the road. Pittsburgh can win in the cold. The Dolphins, they just can't, Joe.
Well, and no problem, Donnie, right? And you know, this was styles make fights, this game here. And listen, the Steelers' run defense has been under a microscope. And then here's a Dolphins team that's been averaging since week 10, 192 rushing yards a game, right? They have been right. They just ran for what, 249? Against the Jets, it was absurd. So you had to wonder, okay, they didn't have the rookie Derek Harmon, the tackle last night either. Yep. Could they stop the running game? And the answer is, yeah, Dolphins had 63 yards on the ground. That's their lowest rushing output since week 5. That was why they won that game to Steelers. They took everything that the Dolphins have been successful with, Donnie, over this stretch, and they took it away, and they had no second pitch, so to speak. They had no off-speed pitch to come back with them out, and that was the difference in the game.
Oh, it certainly was. Tua was 22 of 28. He did throw 2 touchdowns, but also that game was wrapped up by the time the Dolphins started to move the football. But even you saw in that first half, the first drive of the game, the Dolphins we're taking this football, handing it off, couple nice pass plays, setting up everything. You're headed into scoring range there, and on first down, Tua decides to throw that Tua lame duck out into the flat, which got intercepted and interrupted that momentum. You continue to hand off to Achane. Maybe that game is different, but it's not. There'll be a lot of question marks moving forward. But the questions here, you're right, Joe, on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Down 2 of their best defensive linemen in this game. Could they get enough pressure on Tua? They sacked him 4 times in that game. The second half really got away from them. As we said, a 3-0 lead for the Miami Dolphins at the 2-minute warning in the first half, which led to a touchdown right before the half. Then you did that double up in the second half right out of the break. Got the big play by Gainwell, go right down the field and make it 14-3. It was essentially ending from there. We also want to talk about momentum and how things can change, Joe. The Dolphins drive the length of the field to get the 3rd and 1, take a sack, but a loss on a running play. 54-yard field goal sneaks through to make it 3-0. How do you keep the momentum, Joe? I don't know. Just give a normal kickoff. Doesn't make the landing zone. 40-yard line the Steelers start with, and they went right down the field for that touchdown. And also credit Mike Tomlin. We don't usually say he's an aggressive head coach. Every 4th down spot they had a chance to go for it, they went for it. And that was a big difference in the game.
Yeah, and that was, and give kudos to the kicker from Miami. I think that was a season long, too. Not an easy place in those conditions to kick. And then, of course, he totally flubs the kickoff on the following one. And there you go. But listen, this was a back and forth affair early. But once again, when it came to, and by the way, nice page out of the Eagles book, throwing Hayward behind center there, a little tush push on a number of plays last night, Donnie, with short yardage there, 3rd and 1, 4 and 1, and they got the job done. But, once the Dolphins had to play from behind, that was it. It was over. The Dolphins were a running team. That's what made them successful. They are not built to play from behind. We've seen that, and we saw it again on full display last night.
And also understand this, too, when you take a look at how coaches and they prepare for games. Miami was winning on the ground, and they didn't handle football, quite frankly enough, in the first half anyway. But case in point, the Steelers won. But also, adjusting to what your team has. Aaron Rodgers is not running a quarterback sneak. So you take a young, powerful tight end lineup, and you convert those plays. The reason I bring that up, Joe, is you had a 4th and a football in the first half for the Miami Dolphins after Tua scrambled and didn't get the first down. They punted that football and then took a delay of game, then punted the football. Learn. Get one of your tight ends under center and run a tush push and get that first down. Inexcusable, Joe, for that to happen. Good on the Steelers. Stupid coaching for the Dolphins.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody would ever, mistaken McDaniel and that coaching staff for being on the top of their game. So,
yeah.
But they did practice in the snow, I believe, on Sunday in Pittsburgh.
Oh, they had a lot of fun.
They had a lot of fun. A lot of snow angels. That worked out well.
News and notes in the NFL coming up next, right here on the Early Line.
Interesting to see in that Big 12. We keep talking about it. With Houston, with Iowa State, with Kansas, with BYU. They're going to be battle tested, but so is the rest of that league. And man, that is going to be fun to watch.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
There are a million ways to make money on this. There really is. Right? Like, I sit back. We've given you a couple of ours that we've given you. I think they're all going to win, essentially. The gold one, the Google Views one. The only one I might not win, Cam, that I gave people was, will the U.S. government announce that aliens exist in 2026?
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This season is about coming together, sharing moments.
We're going to go with the over tonight.
And celebrating what connects us. It's lighting the candles, gathering like a team, and finding joy in every night. 8 nights of tradition, 8 nights of celebration, 8 chances to shine. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
NFL news and notes, none bigger than the Patrick Mahomes news. He actually had surgery already on his torn LCL and ACL in his knee. Most times, Joe, you know what we see? They wait 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks here to make sure the swelling goes down. But apparently, the LCL had to be done immediately here to help him get back on the field sooner than later. Still devastating news here and still trying to process what that means to Chiefs Nation, Joe. Devastating news, back on the mend. We'll see when a quarterback's typically, Joe, can come back quicker than, let's just say, running backs or wide receivers because you're standing in the pocket as opposed to running 4.40s. But Patrick Mahomes hopes to be back early next year by September, he says.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, that's all good news. It really is. I mean, I think he had the surgery done, interestingly enough, in Dallas by a couple of Cowboys team physicians, which is interesting, that specialize in that. And the fact that he can and they expect him to begin the rehab process immediately, Donnie, I mean, that's fantastic news if you are the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, Andy Reid at least sounded somewhat upbeat about it and confident about it. I mean, as much as you can. But, yeah, I mean, usually 9 to 12 months. But if you think he can be on an accelerated timeline, Donnie, then what are we talking about? Maybe the mid, by the end of October, November of next year? That's going to be real interesting to see.
That certainly will be. Let's hear from Andy Reid here talking about Patrick Mahomes.
I've had a good visit with him a couple different times. So he's in a good place. He always feels like he let people down, but then he comes back and he's ready for the challenge ahead. Which is what's real right now. He's just got to get through surgery wherever it might be, and then move on from there.
Big Red needs him back sooner than later. And also, could this have some impact on the offseason for guys like Travis Kelce if they want to make it next year and see what happens? Because, again, the Chiefs are over the cap. The Chiefs are getting older. And also their star quarterback won't be there all offseason to get the troops ready for when it's time to play in September. We'll keep tabs there all offseason long on the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, how about Christian Watson? We thought it was a devastating injury. It looked like maybe a broken collarbone or a terrible injury to the shoulder. Doesn't look all that bad and not ruled out for this weekend's game. Hey, look, you lose Micah Parsons. You can't afford to lose Watson, who's been sensational this season, coming back from an injury. Looks like he's going to be okay, though.
He was, and to me, in that Broncos game, especially, Donnie, that was a bigger loss. When Christian Watson went out, that was a bigger loss. Because don't forget, they lost Tucker Kraft. And until Watson came back, they really didn't have anybody that could stretch the field. And then Christian Watson gets in there, and all of a sudden, that's the guy that you've got to worry about if you're a defense, right? Well, once he got off the field, you didn't have to worry about anything at that point, and the offense went MIA. Listen, Parsons is going to be tough enough, but the good news is if you get Christian Watson back, the offense should still be able to carry them.
No, and again, it's a good sign there because the offense is going to win the day. Stinks because that was one of the teams that you thought could make a deep playoff run. Why? Because when you need to rush the passer, nobody better out there than Micah Parsons to try to get after. But he's not going to be there. They'll rally. And as Matt LaFleur said, also post-game press conference, nobody's going to feel sorry for us. Oh, no, Micah, okay, take a couple wins here for free and head to the playoffs. Nobody feels sorry. The game keeps moving on. Take a look at Jaden Daniels. Hey, cooler heads prevailed. He's out for the season. Good for him, unless it was like, oh, no, the Eagles in that defense are coming after us. We can't afford to lose the kid any longer. Smart move by Washington. There's no reason to put him back out there this season.
Yeah, after the fact. Like, you shouldn't have brought him out to begin with the second time, Donnie. I mean, we've been screaming like your season is over. The injuries took their toll. You can't protect this. Shut him down, but you rolled him out back again, and he hurt his elbow again, and here we go. But yes, finally somebody, an adult in the room, stood up and was like, yeah, no more. It's over. Bye-bye now.
Yeah, it's a wrap on the season for Washington. Just play up the string, improve your draft strategy, and be done with it. Oh, yeah, you picked up a win against the Giants. Congratulations for losing out on the draft in that spot already. Joe Burrow, he says he's going to continue to start, and why not? They were sensational against the Ravens. They scored 0 points in that game. But, hey, you make a lot of money. You're going to play out there. And Joe Burrow's like, hey, I'm not having fun, but I'll keep playing.
It's just not going well. And I feel bad for Burrow because, I mean, the guy every year, Donnie, it feels like he's got to go through hell and back, between the injuries and then you got to deal with the organization and then you still can't win. And it's like, this guy is just... I don't blame him, quite honestly. I mean, at some point you got to feel all the effort and the work means something, right? It can't mean you're getting shut out, in week 15. It just can't.
Yeah. How about this story here? And it does deal again with the Bengals. We talked about it yesterday, the cheapest organization in sports. Instead of having so much disrespect for your fans, like, what's next, Joe? Hey, I paid for my parking spot. Get your shovel and clear your own parking spot. Okay, well, now you go into the stadium and say, the least of my concerns is going to be it's a cold weather game. We stink. I paid for these tickets. Let me go sit in my seat. Oh, I can't. There's snow and ice sitting there. I have to clean it myself. And if I don't, I'll be freezing cold the entire game. Pro Football Talk sent out a tweet yesterday. Hamilton County Commissioner Stephanie Dumas isn't happy about the Bengals' failure to clear the snow from the seats at the stadium owned by the county and leased by the team. Do you know why those seats weren't cleared? Because it probably would have cost them $25,000 in overtime to pay some of the workers just to brush off the seats and clean it. That's how cheap the Bengals are. It's amazing to see each and every day that organization, how horrible it actually is.
And it goes against league policy, right? I mean, the league is very specific. We can't have fans of the NFL showing up, slipping and sliding, having to clean off their own seats and paying. First of all, if a fan actually made the effort to go to that game, Donnie, it should be heated seats. You ought to just walk them in, give them whatever they wanted, and thank them for being such a loyal fan. Instead, Yeah, you get in here and you can clean your own seat. Sorry.
It's like they already get you for everything, right? Like the thing that I always loved the best, and it now is permeated into like Las Vegas, like pay to park. I paid for a ticket. It's an empty lot. I have to pay $50 to pull into an empty lot on game day that just sits. It's unbelievable. And the least they can do is just clean off your seat. I understand, hey, it's raining. We can't keep your seat dry. I get it. Here's a towel. Go wipe it off. But snow and ice in your seat and by the way, have you ever been to a football game? I have, where you're on concrete where your feet sit. If there's ice and snow, your feet are frozen the entire way through at this point. Congratulations, Cincinnati Bengals fans. Continue to endure that nonsense. Phillip Rivers. He's actually chosen to be the starting quarterback on Monday Night Football. I can't believe it. It should be Riley Leonard. It was fun to watch Phil as it was. That is not sustainable at this point right now, but he's getting the start again, Joe.
Well, again, whether it's Riley Leonard or Phillip Rivers, you're going to need the other facets of your team to be at the top of their game. You're going to need the defense to do exactly what they did against Seattle. You're going to need your special teams to be on top of their game, right? Listen, just don't lose the game. That's it. It's clear he has the mental capacity and he hasn't really skipped a beat. Read the defenses. Just don't lose the game for us. And that's it. Whether it's Riley Leonard or not, the concept is the same, but at least you still have Riley Leonard backing up in case something happens to him. So, we'll see how it goes. As long as you brought him off the couch, you might as well play him.
By the way, that game listed here at 46.5 right now at FanDuel, 45.5 DraftKings, depending where you're shopping at. Most of them are 46s. How does that game go over? Because you saw the script for the Colts. They're going to use the same script here. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, run this clock out, play good special teams and good defense, and see if we can steal it at the end, which they almost did against the Seattle Seahawks. So if I'm the 49ers, I'm handing the football off to McCaffrey as well. That clock is going to be churning here as we go, Joe. Any thoughts on that game? 5.5-point favorite for San Francisco on the road. I don't know if Indy can keep this close again. Maybe they can. I don't know. It's a hard handicap.
Listen, the way if they can bring that same kind of effort and energy that they brought against Seattle at home, I think they'll be in the game. Absolutely. And 5.5, the book is telling you we have no idea, Donnie. We got no clue.
There you go. No man's land with Phillip Rivers. I'll tell you where we do have a clue. The NBA Cup action. Let's preview it next. Have some fun with that. And also, take a look at Flag's 40-point night next.
Interesting to see in that Big 12. We keep talking about it. With Houston, with Iowa State, with Kansas, with BYU. They're going to be battle tested, but so is the rest of that league. And man, that is going to be fun to watch.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
There are a million ways to make money on this. There really is. Right? Like I sit back, we've given you a couple of ours that we've given you. I think they're all going to win, essentially. The gold one, the Google Views one. The only one I might not win, Cam, that I gave people was, will the U.S. government announce that aliens exist in 2026?
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This season is about coming together, sharing moments.
We're going to go with the over tonight.
And celebrating what connects us. It's lighting the candles, gathering like a team, and finding joy in every night. 8 nights of tradition, 8 nights of celebration, 8 chances to shine. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
You wanted scoring in the association, you got it. You wanted an underdog to play well in elevation, you got that as well. Best bet last night, winner on the show for me, was the Utah Jazz getting 2.5 points from the Dallas Mavericks, winning that game outright, 140 to 133. Now, we look at the Jazz and say 140 is a lot. How much is 40 itself? Cooper Flagg dropped 42 points last night as an 18-year-old. And you see that tweet on the screen there. 18-year-olds in NBA history with a 40-point game, Cooper Flagg. End of list. 18 years old, beating up on grown men, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable, Donnie. And signs where we've seen this, right? I mean, we saw this when he played with the Olympic team and was practicing with the Kawhi Leonards of the world, right? And he was basically dominating. So we all knew he had the talent, and it was just a matter of time this year. He started out slow, but don't forget, they were asking him to play point guard because they didn't have anybody healthy. Kyrie's still not there. They have figured some things out there in Dallas, and now look at him, man. And get ready for this. Between Cooper Flagg, Victor Wembanyama, I got to tell you, the NBA, the next generation of stars are very much alive and well here this season.
No, it certainly is. How about alive and well? Some of the pay for the NBA Cup, the teams and the players who play in it. Now, if you are a superstar with a ton of money, money is money. You want to make it here. How about the players who win the championship get $530,000 here? If you do lose the championship game, it's $212 a man right here. Not bad work. And when you understand some of these guys making $40, $50, and $60 million a year, maybe it's a drop in the bucket, Joe, but those guys hanging on at the end of that bench right there, basically doubling their salary, it feels like, as a young rookie or just a guy that's on a 10-day contract, that's fantastic money, man. Show up, win it. You might not even get in the game and get an extra $530 in your pocket. Not too shabby.
No, you can't go wrong there, Donnie. Although the sixth man on a NBA bench, I feel, still makes $12 to $15 million a year, which is still kind of laughable here. So, but yes, not a lot of guys there could certainly use the money there. Some of those guys, like you said, scratching and clawing their way on the team. But ultimately, I don't know how many of those guys we're going to see on the court here tonight between the Spurs and the Knicks. It feels like a lot of those guys going to be locked up for a very, very long time on these teams.
Get a Lambo at that point, man. Hey, man, won that Cup championship, spent my $530K on a Lambo here, drive around the corner, have some fun, and surely a lot of that money might go to tipping tonight, whoever wins, because there will be a party at a certain strip resort, I would assume, in Las Vegas. So a lot of fun to be had, but there is a game tonight, Joe. It is the NBA Cup final. It is the Spurs. It is the Knicks, as the Knicks, a 2.5-point favorite over the Spurs, and a total, which was at 227.5 as the look-ahead line, Joe. Now we're seeing 232.5 to 233.5 on the live number. People betting that over tonight in the Cup final between the Spurs and the Knicks.
A lot of money towards the over, which is interesting because over the last couple of weeks, the Knicks have been top 5 in defensive efficiency. They're actually really starting to defend here in a big, big way, which, listen, we remember Thibs, right? His years there with the Knicks, from game one to this point in the season, he'd probably already burned out half his guys, but not so much with Mike Brown right now. They're really starting to show up and show out. And in this game, call me crazy, Donnie, but man, watching all the clips and the tape, San Antonio celebrated like they won the NBA championship after that win against OKC. Not to mention, Victor Wembanyama is going to be on a minutes restriction here. I mean, this is nice, but he only played 21 minutes, 22 minutes in that game there. It feels like the Knicks stars are going to be on that court a lot longer than Wembanyama is going to be. So it feels like big advantage to the New York Knicks, but the public loves themselves some San Antonio Spurs right now.
Oh, they do. Take a look at some of those player points props in this game tonight. Victor Wembanyama, 21.5. You take a look at the Aaron Fox. He's at 20.5 for the New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson, 30.5. Karl Anthony Towns at 20.5. Points are expected tonight, Joe. Usually is a superstar-driven sport, specifically in the biggest moments, like the final of the NBA Cup. If you're looking at some of those player prop points bets here tonight, Joe, does any one of those get your attention?
Well, just for perspective, Brunson's averaging 36 a game ever since Miles McBride went down, and he's still not available to them. So, he has been an unstoppable force. And you've got some young guys. I mean, Steven Castle has been tremendous, but Brunson's going to eat him alive in this game here. So the fact that if I can get Brunson 6 points under what he's already averaging in a big game, you know he's going to show up tonight and show out. I got no problem backing Brunson over his point prop.
Taking a look at some of those rebound props tonight. You know the guys get after it on the boards. Wembanyama, 10.5 at a plus 108 price. The other big man across there, Karl Anthony Towns, he also is listed at 10.5 at a 138 price. I like this game as a buy measure, Joe, on a certain side, which we'll give it a little bit later in the show. But you should get some entertainment. You should get some fun. It's a big game atmosphere there in Vegas. And also, the NBA understands that they want to push this NBA Cup, which I don't really care about it, but the final I do once you get there. I just don't know how you actually get there, the mathematics involved. But here we are with the San Antonio Spurs and the Knicks. Only one game tonight, Joe. It is the NBA Cup, so all eyes will be on attention there tonight, 8:30 p.m. start.
Yeah, which means you're going to get a ton of public money here. And like I said, tickets and money we've already seen on San Antonio. The line is frozen right at 2.5, Donnie, for the Knicks. But every metric I know of points to the New York Knicks, and maybe the biggest one is experience. And, you know, the Knicks have been here and done this before. The Knicks, when they beat Orlando in the semifinal, Donnie, it looked like another, okay, we won a game on a you know, just a regular season win. Great. It was business as usual. San Antonio, for as young as they are, as talented as they are, okay, can you get up for a second game as much as you were for that OKC game? We shall find out.
No, we certainly will. And by the way, some of those fun markets you can bet on, like the first basket, sort of like doubling up. It's you just say in the NFL on a touchdown prop. Hey, take 2+ money, guys. Get the plus money if one of them hits. Victor Wembanyama plus 430 to score the first basket. Jalen Brunson 6-1 price to score the first basket. Joe, that's where I'm going. If you had a first basket scorer tonight, Joe, who are you going with? OG Anunoby 12-1. You going a little bit down that list?
Oh, Miles McBride. I'm sorry, Mikal Bridges. That's who I'm going with. Mikal Bridges.
Get a guy
from deep. Nobody
scores for 8 minutes there. You come off the bench, get that first 2-0 lead. That's got to be a big-time payday, people. Big time. We'll be right back having some fun on the early line later on the SportsGrid Network.
I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going to these
I'm
games.
a fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not.
They told me. I told them to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing.
In this economy,
but they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
They went all in with the Sauce Gardner trade, right? All in. You get a couple of number one picks here. Then Daniel Jones breaks the leg, and then he tears the Achilles. All right, you're signing Phillip Rivers. Are you kidding me? I mean, by the way, you know what hasn't been talked about enough? Sam Ehlinger decided he didn't want to come play for the Colts. Why? You would have been. I know Denver activated him to the roster anyway, but he would have been maybe the starting quarterback this weekend.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, the NFL, we know they like to contradict themselves quite a bit here and have their sort of head in the sand. And it was for decades where they told you, we don't want any sports gambling around our sport here because it could ruin it here, and not acknowledging that, oh, yeah, the reason why you get a ton of ratings, even when it wasn't legalized sports gambling, was because there was always sports gambling and people would watch sometimes a crummy product like you might find last night, but still you had cheering edges if you took the Steelers, if you took the Dolphins, the over, the under, and or prop bets. So now the NFL is telling us, you know what? We're the official sponsor of DraftKings and FanDuel and their endless ads at stadiums. We love the sports betting market. And now they want to write to Congress to say, hey, Polymarket and Kalshi, these predictive marketplaces, boy, this might be really damaging. We need to stop these. Joe, come on now with this.
Yeah, because only the NFL would see a difference between those two things and think that one is okay and one is, oh, wait a minute, one is actually paying them. Oh, I see. Yeah, this is a whole lot of hand-wringing, Donnie, and a whole lot of, listen, we'll be fine with you as long as you're paying us, but only, I don't know that they're going to, the Polymarkets and the Kalshis of the world are going to play in that sandbox with the NFL, mostly, Donnie, because they don't have to.
It's amazing. Like, it really is when you look at, like, and you know what's coming down the corner. Bring him in front of Congress, ask him questions. The NFL goes, okay, let's come to the table. Polymarket, give us $2 billion. Kalshi, $2 billion. You can both be equal partners. We'll split it up, one in the AFC, one in the NFC, and everybody goes along. Like, what if you're looking at legalized sports gambling, DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, whoever it might be, how could the predictive markets have an issue with how the NFL works or vice versa at this point? It almost is so stupid it doesn't make any sense, because you know we're right around the corner from having an NFL poly market commercial. It's coming, people. We just don't know how to get there, and the NFL is trying to get the government involved to try to squash these because they can't make money off them yet. So Congress will be like, hey, guys, get in the same room, make money off each other. Is that what we're waiting for?
Yeah, that's basically it. It's always about the money, Donnie, right? It's always about the money. Don't forget. Remember when, when originally FanDuel and DraftKings, the whole fantasy market came out and they were running 9 million commercials during the game. The NFL was like, whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, well, P.S. Eventually they became partners, and look at what happened here. So same thing. It's the same playbook, Donnie, just different companies right now.
Yeah, Dustin Gowker tweeted out yesterday, new on my newsletter. The NFL told the House committee that sports-related events contracts should not be approved by the CFTC in written testimony. Easily the most aggressive stance we have seen from a major sports league. So this says, well, DraftKings, you can bet on the 49ers winning the Super Bowl, but predictive markets, you can't do that. That's crossing the line.
Oh, yeah, because there's such a huge difference there. You got to stop it. Just absolutely stop it here. But we all know what this is, Donnie. And it's their version of a shakedown, so to speak, and say, hey, listen, we're going to make enough noise and make it that uncomfortable for you until you come down and we all figure out how to get on the same page. But here's the other thing, Donnie. DraftKings has paid a ton of money to sponsor with the NFL. So I'm not exactly sure how that they're going to be all excited here that they're going to take money from one of these predictive market companies. So should be interesting to see how this plays out.
It's one of those, and I'm going to tell you right now, because, there are some really shrewd and unbelievable business owners in the NFL. Mike Brown of the Cincinnati Bengals, not one of them. But if you remember when, that Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys, Netflix or Amazon Prime, whatever the series was, that 5-part deal, Jerry Jones at the forefront of going, oh, the NFL's like, yeah, we're a Coke product league here. And Jerry goes, official brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Pepsi, let's go. And then NFL's like, now hold on. We all have Coke as a sponsor. You can't go out and get Pepsi. AT&T Stadium just might be known as Polymarket Stadium. And Jerry Jones like, man, this works in perfectly. Yes, DraftKings and FanDuel are the official sponsors of the NFL, but the Dallas Cowboys, it's Polymarket.
It's a shocker, right? It's absolutely shocking. These billionaire owners, Donnie, they're going to figure out ways to get their slice of the pie one way or the other. I, for one, can't wait to see how because it's just a whole lot of people pointing fingers, screaming and yelling, and ultimately, Donnie, we know how this ends, don't we? With more money for the billionaire owners.
Like, again, I don't even know how the NFL does it, Joe, with a straight face. Like, we have legalized gambling, but a market that's essentially legalized gambling is going to jeopardize our quarterback, running back, our league, and we just can't have this in. Because, again, they told you for decades, we can't infiltrate the sports betting market. The minute it got legal, I was like, this is great. And look at all the $2 billion, the $4 billion, the $8 billion. Franchises go higher. Why? Because sports gambling allows more eyeballs on the TV, people. Hour number 2 is next.